Hello, and welcome to Dreamology. Tonight, we take a quiet journey inward, into the calm, hidden world of your own mind. There is no need to focus, no need to remember anything. You can simply listen, or let these words fade gently into the background. Psychology has uncovered many quiet truths about how the mind works, about memory, perception, and the subtle patterns that shape our thoughts. Some of these ideas are soft and familiar, like the way a scent can suddenly bring back a moment from long ago. Others are more surprising, like how the brain can begin making decisions before we even realize it. None of this is meant to challenge you, only to invite curiosity and calm. As you listen, you may feel yourself drifting closer to sleep. That is perfectly fine. For now, just get comfortable. Let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders soften. And allow the quiet wonder of your own mind to unfold naturally. People often become more open late at night. As the day fades, mental filters tend to relax. The mind grows quieter, less guarded. When we are tired, we monitor ourselves less. Words can come more easily. Thoughts may feel closer to the surface. This does not mean that everything said at night is absolute truth, but it often feels more honest, more unpolished. The quiet of nighttime plays a role as well. There are fewer distractions, dimmer light, a sense that the world has slowed down. In this atmosphere, conversations may drift into deeper places, and connections can feel stronger. You may recognize this feeling, as if the mind settles into a more natural rhythm, and thoughts are allowed to breathe. Trying to do many things at once can make memory softer. Multitasking often feels efficient, but the brain prefers gentle focus.
When attention is divided, information competes for space. Details may fade. Moments may blur together. For example, checking messages while listening to someone speak can make parts of the conversation disappear later. Research suggests that frequent multitasking can make it harder to filter out distractions over time. The mind remembers more clearly when it is allowed to stay with one thing. In a busy world, doing one thing slowly can feel like a quiet luxury, and your memory often responds with gratitude. Gentle human touch can reduce the feeling of pain. A hand held, a light touch on the shoulder. These small gestures do more than comfort emotionally. They can change how the brain interprets pain signals. Touch activates sensory pathways that soften the intensity of discomfort. It also encourages the release of oxytocin, a hormone linked to bonding and calm. In some studies, people who held hands during painful moments reported less discomfort. Their brain activity even began to synchronize. Touch can create a shared state of calm. a reminder to the body that it is not alone. Sometimes the simplest gestures carry the deepest sense of relief. Scents can influence decisions quietly. Smell often bypasses conscious thought. It travels directly to areas of the brain linked to emotion and memory. Because of this, scent can affect mood without us noticing. Certain smells encourage calm. Others signal energy or freshness. We often believe our choices are purely rational, but the senses are always involved. Becoming aware of this does not take away the magic. It simply reminds us how gently the mind responds to its environment. Some people feel more rested simply because they believe they slept well. This is sometimes called placebo sleep.
In studies, people who were told they slept deeply often performed better the next day, even when their actual sleep was average. Belief shapes expectation, and expectation influences energy and focus. Of course, real sleep is important. Nothing replaces it. But this effect shows how powerful the mind can be in shaping how the body feels. Rest is not only about hours. It is also about the story we tell ourselves as we wake. Sometimes it feels as if you can sense when someone is looking at you. Many people know this quiet moment. You suddenly turn your head and realize it was true. Science suggests that this may come from subtle cues, a small shift of light, movement at the edge of vision, barely noticeable sounds. The brain is finely tuned to social attention. For thousands of years, knowing when eyes were on us meant safety or danger. Even now, the mind still listens, often before conscious thought arrives. A gentle nudge from an older part of ourselves. Your body language can reveal feelings before you fully notice them. Posture, small gestures, tiny changes in tone. They often reflect emotions that have not yet reached awareness. Others may sense these signals before we do. Becoming aware of your own body can feel like quietly listening inward, not to judge, only to notice. The body speaks softly, but it rarely lies. Smell has a special connection to memory. Unlike sight or sound, scent travels directly to the brain's emotional centers. This is why a simple smell can suddenly open the past. A familiar perfume, fresh rain, food from childhood. The memory can feel vivid, emotional, alive. Psychologists sometimes call this the Proust effect. It reminds us that memory is not stored like files in a drawer. It lives in landscapes, and scent can quietly unlock them. In some dreams, people realize they are dreaming. This is known as lucid dreaming. With that awareness, the dream may become flexible. Some people report flying, or breathing underwater, or gently changing the dream's direction. Lucid dreams appear when parts of the brain linked to awareness remain active during sleep. Some people experience this naturally. Others practice simple techniques, like noticing patterns or keeping dream journals. Beyond any practical use, lucid dreaming carries a quiet wonder, the mind creating entire worlds and stepping inside them. Both the traveler and the architect. Unfinished tasks often linger in the mind. A conversation left open, a project paused halfway. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. The brain holds on to what feels incomplete. This can be useful. It helps us remember what still matters, but it can also disturb rest, replaying thoughts late at night. That is why writing a simple list can feel calming. It tells the brain, this is remembered. You can rest now. Completion releases tension, but acknowledgement helps too. Gratitude can quietly lower stress. Feeling thankful is more than a kind thought. Studies show that gratitude can reduce stress hormones in the body. Simple practices help. Writing a few lines, thinking of something gentle before sleep. Gratitude shifts attention away from lack towards safety and abundance. This allows the nervous system to soften. Sometimes one grateful thought is enough to calm the mind and invite rest. The mind can respond to words it barely notices. This is known as subliminal priming. Very subtle signals can influence feelings or judgments without awareness.
The effect is usually gentle, not dramatic, but it reveals something important. Much of the mind works quietly, scanning, filtering, interpreting. Feelings may appear without clear explanation, like whispers from the edges of perception. Music can unlock memories long thought forgotten. A song from years ago can bring back a place, a face, a feeling. Music activates many parts of the brain at once: sound, movement, emotion. That is why memories tied to music can feel especially strong. Even in people with memory loss, familiar songs can awaken clarity. It reminds us that memories may still live within us, waiting patiently for the right sound. Optimism can support recovery. Hope is more than a comforting idea. It can influence the body. Studies suggest that people with a hopeful outlook often recover more easily, heal a little faster, cope a little better. Optimism reduces the body's stress response. It encourages persistence and supports resilience. This does not mean ignoring reality. It simply means believing that difficulty is not the end of the story. While the body works quietly to repair itself, the mind's outlook can gently tip the balance. Déjà vu can feel mysterious. That strange sense that a moment has already happened. One explanation is a brief misfire in the brain's recognition system. A new experience may resemble old patterns. The brain signals familiarity before logic can catch up. For most people, déjà vu passes quickly, but it offers a glimpse into how memory and perception overlap. Reality layered with echoes. A reminder that perception is an interpretation, not a recording. People often speak faster when they feel nervous. Anxiety activates the body's alert system. Heart rate increases. Breathing changes.
Thoughts begin to rush. Words try to follow. Speech may lose its pauses. Sentences may blur. Slowing speech deliberately can calm the body, and a calmer body helps steady the mind. In this way, speech becomes a gentle tool for regulation. Much of the brain remains a mystery. We can observe activity, map structures, track signals. Yet consciousness itself is still not fully understood. Why thoughts feel vivid, why memories carry emotion. Large regions of the brain have no clear singular purpose. Each discovery opens new questions. Like an ocean we have only skimmed the surface of. The mind is not just a machine. It is a landscape we live inside. Most thoughts are repeats from previous days. The brain favors efficiency. It reuses familiar patterns. This repetition creates stability, but it can limit novelty. When we change routines, learn something new, or step into unfamiliar places, new patterns form. This is why small changes can feel refreshing. A different route, a new skill, a new perspective. Sometimes all it takes to wake the mind is a gentle step off the usual path. Yawning can spread from person to person, even across species. Humans, dogs, birds. This contagious response is linked to empathy. We mirror one another without thinking. It helps groups stay connected, aligned, in rhythm. A shared yawn is a quiet signal. We are here together. Under hypnosis, pain can feel different. The sensation may remain, but the brain interprets it differently. Activity changes in areas that process pain. This has been used in medical settings. Hypnosis is not magic. It is focused attention, a state where perception becomes flexible. It shows that pain is not only physical, it is also shaped by awareness.
Writing about emotions can improve well-being. Putting feelings into words helps organize them. What was vague becomes structured. This reduces mental strain. Writing does not need to be perfect. It only needs honesty. The page becomes a container, a place where thoughts can rest. Over time, this practice can make emotions easier to carry. We often remember feelings more easily than facts. Emotions leave a strong imprint. Joy, fear, sadness, excitement. These emotional markers help the brain decide what matters, but they can also blur details. We may remember how a moment felt more clearly than what actually happened. Memory is not a perfect record. It is a story shaped by emotion. Facts may fade. Feelings often remain. Chewing gum can support concentration. The steady rhythm of chewing can increase blood flow to the brain. It may help attention stay anchored, especially during long tasks. Some studies suggest a small boost in focus and alertness. The effect is gentle, not dramatic, but sometimes small anchors are enough to keep the mind present. The first and last moments are often remembered most. Psychologists call this the primacy and recency effect. Beginnings receive attention, endings stay fresh. This pattern appears everywhere: conversations, stories, experiences. The middle often blends together. Understanding this can help with learning, and it reminds us how the mind frames life, like a quiet story. The brain can miss changes happening right in front of you. This is known as change blindness. When attention is elsewhere, even large shifts can go unnoticed. The brain fills in gaps based on expectations. Perception is selective. Not everything is processed. This is why small changes can escape notice.
The mind builds a smooth picture from incomplete information, a gentle illusion of continuity. Smiling can influence mood. Even a soft, intentional smile can send signals to the brain. Muscles in the face feed information back inward. This may trigger small releases of calming chemicals. It is not about forcing happiness. It is about gently shifting state. Sometimes the body leads and the mind follows. Attraction often begins below awareness. Symmetry, voice tone, scent. Subtle cues shape response before thought arrives. Associations form quietly. A laugh may feel familiar. A face may evoke warmth. By the time the mind explains, the feeling is already there. Attraction is ancient and deeply personal. A conversation between instinct and experience. Flow states can change how time feels. In flow, focus becomes effortless. Hours can feel like minutes. The outside world fades. This state appears when challenge and skill align. Not too easy, not overwhelming. The brain quiets self-judgment. Action and awareness merge. Flow is not just productivity, it is immersion. A smooth movement of attention. Like a river finding its path. Technology can give the brain new ways to sense the world. Some devices translate information the body cannot normally feel into gentle signals. Over time, the brain learns to interpret them. What begins as vibration or sound can become intuitive. This shows the brain's flexibility. Perception is not fixed. It can expand. With experience, new streams of information can feel natural. Learning physically reshapes the brain. Each new skill creates small changes. Connections strengthen. New pathways form. The brain is not static. It adapts throughout life.
These changes happen fastest in childhood, but they never fully stop. Learning leaves traces, quiet marks, etched into the brain structure. Every practice reinforces the path. Mood can change what we see.
Positive states broaden attention. Anxious states narrow focus. This is why the same place can look different depending on how we feel. Emotion shapes perception. The world does not change. The lens does. By shifting mood, the scene itself can soften. People are more likely to help when they are alone. In groups, responsibility spreads thin. Each person waits, assumes another will act. This is known as the bystander effect. When alone, the choice is clear. Awareness of this effect can change behavior. Sometimes help begins with one person deciding to move. Stress can spread without words. Body language, tone, subtle cues. The nervous system mirrors what it observes. This sensitivity once helped groups survive. Today, it means tension can ripple quietly. But calm spreads too. By settling yourself, you may ease the space around you. Nostalgia can create warmth. Recalling meaningful memories can make the body feel warmer. Social warmth and physical warmth are linked in the brain. This is why comforting memories can soothe on cold days. A familiar song, a photograph, a smell. The past can wrap the present in quiet comfort. Fear can spread through observation. Seeing someone react can trigger your own response. The brain mirrors emotion to learn quickly. This protects us, but it can also amplify anxiety. Awareness helps slow the process. Not every reaction needs to be shared. Authority can influence behavior deeply. People often follow instructions from perceived leaders, even when uncomfortable.
This tendency is rooted in social structure. Awareness restores choice. Knowing the influence helps resist it. Responsibility always remains personal. Peripheral vision is especially sensitive to movement. The center of vision sees detail. The edges notice change. This ability helped our ancestors survive. A sudden motion could signal danger. Even now, the brain keeps watching quietly, always scanning, always ready. Writing by hand can support memory. Handwriting engages more of the brain than typing. Movement, sight, spacing. This deeper involvement helps information settle. Writing also slows thinking, giving ideas room to form. Sometimes less speed means more clarity. A smile can gently influence mood. Even a soft expression sends signals inward. The face speaks to the brain. This does not require joy, only intention. A small physical cue can invite calm. The body and mind respond to one another constantly. We form impressions of faces almost instantly. In less than a second, the brain decides. Trust, familiarity, safety. These judgments come from old survival systems. They are fast, not always accurate. Awareness brings balance. A pause allows choice to replace instinct. Seeing eyes can change behavior. Even images of eyes can create a feeling of being observed. This activates social awareness. The brain remembers that actions matter. It is a quiet reminder of connection. We are shaped by the presence of others, real or imagined. People often overestimate how much others notice them. This is called the spotlight effect. We feel visible because we live inside our own dots. In reality, others are focused inward too. Understanding this can ease self-consciousness. The imagined audience fades, and movement becomes lighter.
The placebo effect can work even when we know it is a placebo. Belief alone can activate healing pathways. The body responds to expectation. Ritual matters. Attention matters. This reveals how closely linked mind and body truly are. Forgetting is not a flaw. It is a function. The brain releases what no longer serves. This makes space for what matters now. Forgetting allows flexibility. It helps us generalize instead of clinging to detail. Like pruning a tree, old branches fall so healthy ones can grow. The brain can adapt to seeing the world upside down. In experiments, people wore glasses that inverted vision. At first, everything felt wrong, but within days, the brain adjusted. The image still flipped, the experience did not. This shows how perception is constructed. Reality is interpreted, not simply received. Groups sometimes take greater risks than individuals. Shared confidence can amplify boldness. Caution may fade. This is known as group polarization. Awareness restores balance, inviting pause, inviting dissent. Collective decisions work best when reflection is allowed. Optical illusions reveal how the brain works. The mind predicts, fills gaps, makes assumptions. When prediction conflicts with input, illusion appears. Illusions remind us that perception is not raw reality. It is a reconstruction, a personal rendering based on experience and context. Laughter strengthens resilience. It releases calming chemicals, reduces stress. Shared laughter deepens connection. It teaches the nervous system how to recover. Over time, joy becomes a resource, stored quietly for difficult moments. A sense of purpose supports health. Having meaning guides behavior. It encourages care, persistence, connection.
Purpose does not need to be grand. It only needs to be real. In uncertainty, purpose becomes a steady point, a gentle loop of care and well-being. Your posture can influence mood. The way you sit or stand feeds information to the brain. Upright posture can support alertness. Collapsed posture can reinforce fatigue. These signals move both ways. Small adjustments can shift state. The body sets the stage for the mind's story. Trauma can sometimes lead to growth. This is called post-traumatic growth. It does not mean that pain was good. It means that recovery can reveal strength. Some people develop deeper empathy, clearer values, stronger relationships. Growth comes from meaning, from integrating experience into a larger story. Not everyone experiences this, and there is no requirement to. But it reminds us that healing can carry transformation. Stress can spread socially, without words, tone, posture, facial expression. The nervous system mirrors what it sees. This helps groups respond quickly, but it can also amplify tension. Calm spreads too. By grounding yourself, you may soften the space around you. When we are the only witness, we are more likely to help. There is no one else to defer responsibility to. The decision becomes personal. This reflects an old survival pattern. Each individual mattered. Even now, small actions can create real difference. Mirroring builds connection. Subtly matching posture, tone, or rhythm signals attention. This happens naturally in trusting conversations. When sincere, it fosters safety. When forced, it feels wrong. At its best, mirroring says quietly, "I am with you." Learning changes the brain. Every new skill reshapes neural connections. Practice strengthens pathways. The brain adapts throughout life. Learning is not lost effort. It becomes structure. Each repetition leaves a trace.
Changing environments can support memory. Different settings create different cues. Light, sound, movement. These variations add layers to recall. Variety strengthens learning. Routine can be helpful, but change awakens attention. Teaching others strengthens memory. Explaining an idea requires clarity. It organizes thought, reveals gaps. This deepens understanding. Even casual teaching reinforces learning. Knowledge becomes active, not stored, but lived. Some fears are shaped by evolution. Heights, snakes, spiders. These responses appear quickly, often without experience. They once protected survival. Today, they linger as echoes, instincts from another time. Multitasking weakens memory. Attention splits. Details soften. The brain encodes best when focused. Doing one thing at a time creates depth. The mind prefers presence over speed. Time perception is flexible. Novelty stretches time. Routine compresses it. This is why childhood feels long, and years later seem to pass quickly. Seeking new experiences can slow time again, not by changing clocks, but by changing attention. Sleep supports insight. While the body rests, the brain continues working, sorting, connecting, reorganizing. Solutions may appear in dreams or in the morning light. Rest is not absence. It is quiet activity. The brain can create false memories. They can feel vivid, detailed, real. Memory is reconstructed each time it is recalled. This makes it flexible and imperfect. Memory is not an archive. It is a story the mind retells. The brain fills gaps in vision. Blind spots exist, but the mind smooths them over. Reality appears seamless. Perception is edited, polished, not raw footage. Hearing your own name activates attention, even in noise.
It cuts through. A signal of relevance. A reminder of self. Bias can form without intention. The brain categorizes quickly. Awareness slows reaction. Choice returns. Sleep can spark insight. Unreachable while awake. Dreaming blends ideas freely. Constraints loosen. The mind explores. Rest supports creativity. And now, there is nothing left to process. Nothing to remember. You do not need to hold on to any idea. Let the words fade. Let your breathing deepen. Thoughts can drift. The mind knows how to rest. Sleep arrives. Not by effort, but by release. Good night.